Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Believe in the Journey podcast, where I am your host, Rita Harris. And tonight I have some phenomenal women who are going to be sharing their journey with me, along with the book that we all did together called Sacred Seeds of Wisdom. And it is a book that every Black and Brown woman needs to have in their arsenal. So if you haven't got the book, it's available now on Amazon. You can reach out to either one of us and we'll make sure that you get your copy. Now, this book was truly a sacred seed of wisdom to me. I am grateful to be a part of it with these phenomenal women. It is 14 of us collectively, and each one of us has a different seed that we want to plant with you. But before we go to the guests that are coming up, I go to God first. So, dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here together as you do each and every time we're in front of you. Let the words of our mouths fall upon the ears that need to hear. We all have walked along a journey and a path that you have designed for us, but collectively we've come together to create something that everyone, every female needs in their arsenal. There are seeds of wisdom that we wish that we had as young children, but you have collectively brought us together in this so that we can leave this legacy to those who are coming behind us. In your precious and holy name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Now, the women that I have coming tonight is Miss Charlotte, Miss Shayna, Christina, Tanya, Tony, Farron, and Nichelle. I'm not sure if everybody's gotten here yet. Some are still on their way, but most of them are coming. So I got Miss Tony, Miss Shayna, Miss Farron, and Miss Christina is traveling right now. She gonna turn her camera on when she get in the house, but she coming. She gonna be part of this conversation too. Welcome them to the show. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
Of
thank you.
course,
Thank
of
you.
course. I could not extend this. I can't even say it's a family meeting. I'm gonna say it like that. It's a family meeting, and we had to come together to talk about what we contributed to this book because people need to know what happens behind the scenes, and they don't always get to know what happens behind the scenes and what we had to go through in ourselves to even convince ourselves sometimes to even be as vulnerable as we become when we're writing our stories. Because sometimes just to put it on paper is like, Lord, what are they gonna say? How are people gonna judge me? How they me? When I share this part of myself with who knows. So it was a necessary thing that I think was there for me to extend this moment of space to be able to share what it was like for us. So I want each of you to take a moment to introduce yourselves to give them a little bit of background about who you are. And it doesn't matter who goes first. Like it matters. So I'll be like looking at the picture on everybody's side and be like,
I
I
know.
don't know.
I can go first, ladies.
Okay.
So first of all, thank you, Triveda, for having having all of us on the show. So my name is Shayna. I am a 2024 Distinguished Authors Guild winner. I wrote the book The Prettiest Woman, and I have a new journal which is nominated called Butterflies Are Meant to Fly, Not to Be Kept in a Jar. I'm a mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I have an interior design business called Stiletto Decor. And I have a youth ministry called the Prettiest Little Women Ministry. So I'm all about building women, building young girls up from the inside out. That's why I was really happy to be a part of this project. I love collaborative efforts with other women where we could just talk and just pour into each other and build each other up. And I'm starting to feel like that's my life's purpose.
And that's a great purpose, you know. Sometimes we tend to run away from that purpose in the beginning because we're not quite sure about it, but that's a great, great purpose.
Yes,
Now,
thank
whoever
you.
wants to go next to introduce themselves, go ahead.
I'll go. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much again, Triveda. I've been here before, and it's always a pleasure. So thank you for having us. My name is Farron McLemore, and I am a 2024 Distinguished Authors Guild nominee, 2025 Distinguished Authors Guild ambassador and nominee. So shout out to the Sacred Seeds of Wisdom because we are DAG nominated. So congratulations to you all, ladies. I am a community advocate and a motivational speaker through and in my book, I champion for people with disabilities. I inspire self love and I encourage those to embrace their differences and love who they see in the mirror. So I love that I got to be a part of this amazing journey because it allowed me to leave that legacy and to tap into my passion, which is inspiring and uplifting. And then just to piggyback off author Shayna, I love the collaboration, especially with powerful Black women. So this was such an empowering journey to be on. So I'm just excited to be here and excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. Miss Tony, you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. My name is Tony Winston, and I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own travel business. It's called Freedom Travel Diva. I'm the diva, and I travel all over the world. Take people with me, but I also have a sideline gig where I work for the federal government, and I am divorced. I am a daughter, a sister, a auntie, a cousin, a niece, and I am just so encouraged to be around so many talented Black and brown women. When I was invited to this opportunity to share sacred seeds of wisdom, I did not really fully grasp the talent that we have in our communities. Kudos to everyone who is here. It was, I'm just going to shout out everybody because it was indeed a privilege for me to participate because I had to fall back on the information that I shared for myself. I lost my dad 3 weeks ago. So I had to encourage myself. I started to call Dr. Carolyn and I started to call tonight to say that I was not going to be on. But my dad said to me before he left, he wanted me to live my life right. I know exactly what that meant. He and I had our own language. I'm the oldest and I was daddy's girl and I look like him. So if I start to cry tonight, don't y'all feel sorry for me.
I
Join
will.
me
We're
because
going to
my
cry with
dad
you.
was able to talk to me, share with me and the family, but he also told us he knew exactly where he was going. He said he was going home to be with the Lord, and that really changed my life. It changed my life. And I will never ever let anybody discourage me again about anything that I want to do.
That's right. That's
So
right.
my words of wisdom tonight to everybody here, nobody has any shortcomings. Anything that you put your mind to, put God first and he'll take care of the rest.
So, Scarlett. Oh, she muted. But you're absolutely right. If you do start to cry tonight, you'll be in good company because I
Hello?
had a moment. Hey, Miss Charlotte, we waiting on you
Yes.
to introduce yourself.
Hi. It might be noise in the background. I'm currently in a situation. Let me just, well, I'm just going to cut straight to the point. Hi. My name is Charlotte Simon Rowson. Um, I write a monthly column for Aspiring Authors magazine called Grief and Gratitude. And also, I'm part of the anthology with all you beautiful ladies. And I just want to tell a little background about my story. It's just a story about humility. I'm currently on house, and I'm staying with my daughter now for 7 months. I'm grateful that I'm not in the streets, but yeah, I just want to be in a setting where I have my own place. So, like I said, you might hear noise in the background. I'm on a time limit because this is not my house. So that's when I say humility is this is a humbling experience for me. And it's just it's been a lot of stuff that has happened. I to Angela all the time because I see she's on the line, and stuff is going on now. But in the process of it, of what has happened, has blessed me. I don't want to say nothing now, but it'll happen in September. But I was totally floored when it's like I have mixed emotions. I want to cry because I'm upset, but then the joy is right there, and I have to keep it to myself for a little while longer. So that's where I'm at now. I know I'm rushing because, like I said, I'm on a time frame, so you have to excuse me. But just keep me in prayer. I just want to say thank y'all to everybody that's on the line. I'm humbly grateful. I love you, Angela, and so I'm just grateful to be a part of this anthology, and I can't wait to just do more.
Well, you are in good company. Listen, sometimes God puts us in situations to show us just who He is because
Mm,
sometimes we don't understand the purpose behind the things that He's doing in our lives. I say that
hmm.
life is full of different puzzle pieces, and you never understand which piece you have and where it's going to fit until you're in the situation that you know this is where this piece in my life goes. Right now, you're talking about background noise. I'm in my bedroom tonight doing my podcast because where I normally am, my daughter is here, like I told you earlier.
Hmm.
If not, she would be in here taking over the podcast because she thinks that this is hers. Because anytime my laptop comes out, she thinks that it's time to work and it's time for her to do her thing. So I had to actually lock myself in here so she could stay
Yes.
out there with her mama. And so we had a whole conversation that I was going to be busy and she was calling me. I need to be with you. No, no, no. TT has something to do, so you can't be with TT right now. So she's
Yes.
down in the floor and she's like, "Oh, I want to go with my TT." I know, but the tears won't work right now. We have stuff to do. I'll see you in a minute.
Yes. Yes.
But you are fine, so don't worry about that. God has you right where you're supposed to be in this
Amen.
time.
Yes, I know that's right. That is definitely true.
So there's absolutely no worries or anything about that. And God will tell us when it's time to speak and when it's time to sit still and keep our mouths closed about the next thing that
Hmm.
He's doing in our lives. And sometimes we want to share it with someone who is not supposed to hear that news.
Mm,
So
that's so
sit
true.
back and be quiet. And when God
Hmm.
tells you it's time, then you speak on what it is that you got going on because it's not for
Amen.
us to hear right now. Okay.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, Christina, how are you? Uh-oh, you on mute. We can't hear you.
Hey, how are you
Okay,
all?
we're good. We're just introducing ourselves right now.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for having me. My name is Christina, and I am a nonprofit professional. I can now say that I'm a writer, I'm a mom, and a wife, and I am just happy to be here.
Well, it is great to have you here. Like I most of you don't know much about me except for I host this podcast. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. I am a mother of three. All three of my children are grown, but they tend to think that they're my parents at this point. They tell me that I am hard headed. I am the hard headed parent they've ever had to raise in their lives because I don't listen to nothing. My oldest just turned 29. My middle one is 25. My youngest is 22. He'll be 23 on the 4th of August. I am a self-published author. I am a um, coach, motivational speaker. I also have a business, Wings of Transformation Publishing, where I help other authors who are want to self-publish learn how to do that themselves as well. Outside of that, I am a small person in statue, but I am big in spirit. I always say that because I'm only 4'8". But when you get to know me, I am 6 feet tall in my mind. Whether you believe it or not, they ain't got nothing to do with me. But in my mind, I'm 6 feet tall. And I'm gonna do whatever I set my mind to. So if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna tell you, watch me and see. So, I am very shy when it comes to public speaking, but as I said before, nobody ever believes me because they can't see where the shyness comes in at. Because I'm always going to show up. And now, I like I told you, Miss Charlotte, when we talked earlier, I'm nervous every single time I have to do one of these shows. Every time I have to speak in public, something. But that's not hard for me to do being 4'8". I can stand beside anybody and disappear. So, it just is what it is. But collectively, this book has really reached people in many ways. And I want to say that it's touched me in a way of being in the space with all of you women. And one thing that I can say for myself is as a little girl growing up, I was always told that I would never amount to anything except for being an alcoholic and a drug addict like my mother. Now, I always thought that I was going to be something different and something more than that. And what I can say is being in space with you women has taught me that I was always meant to be in this space, regardless of where other people thought I was supposed to be, because they planted seeds of doubt. But other people who were meant to help me see the greatness within me planted the seeds of growth, blossoming, to let me know that I could do anything that I set my mind to. And so those are the seeds that have been blossoming for me. I am learning still how to celebrate myself and celebrate the wins that I have because I've accomplished a lot of things in my life. However, I've never celebrated those things. So last year and this year, I have made it a point to celebrate my good things. Um, and doing the book signing and book release for my mom last month, it was in honor of her. She passed away 2 years ago. And I released the book on her 66th birthday, which was July the 5th. And I wanted a lot of people to be there, but I realized, and I say this all the time, whoever is meant to be there will be there. Who is not meant to be there won't. And it has nothing to do with anything other than God needs people to be there in that moment. And I will say that all the books that I ordered, I sold all of them at the book signing. That was my very first one. And I sold some of my other books as well. I didn't anticipate doing that. However, it was a blessing and it was a beautiful moment. I didn't take a lot of pictures or a lot of things because I was enjoying the moment in space. Now, one thing about the event that bothered me was I had my dad came and I'm grateful that he but in moments of the event he was trying to make it about himself and it was not about him. And all I could do was laugh because it's like, sir, today is not about you. Today is about me and what I'm doing. And so I just let him have his little pity party, but I kept enjoying what I was doing. And, there are going to be people that are going to come around who want to make whatever it is that you're doing about them. And you got to know how to redirect the energy because I could have let him take away from me and just be down in that moment, but I didn't. And it took my brother calling me. He was like, "Have you talked to your dad? He's still in his feelings event last week." And I was like, "No, he ain't called me with that. So we all right, we good. I'm not mad at him or anything. Like it wasn't your dad, you know." What do you guys do when you have a situation that you're faced with that's similar, or if not somewhat the exact same? How do you handle that? It doesn't matter who answers. Anybody can answer.
You know, I
Um,
think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
was that fair? Oh, fair. Well, go ahead, girl. You can go.
I think you handled it, fine. I think, and because I've been in a lot of situations myself,
Mhm,
initially, you're irritated by it because, how can somebody come to your event making it about them? But I think you handle it just fine by letting them have their moment. I think in those
mhm,
situations for me, um, I wouldn't pay them no attention because it is about you. And
mhm.
I feel that I don't like to let people take, you know, that energy from me. I don't
Right.
like to let people make. I don't like to let anybody make me feel any type of way. So in those moments, I take control of that.
Mhm,
Um, Even if I have to say, this is not about you, this is my day.
mhm.
Sometimes you just have to make it that plain. But and it's something that I say often. When you have these events, the people who are supposed to be there will be there, and
Yeah,
so I used to get wrapped up in it. You got all these people that saying, "Oh, I'm coming," or "I'll be there," but then when the actual day come, they're not there.
yeah,
And so I always tell people all the time in those moments, the people are supposed to be there will be there for you, or the people that need to be there. And I think that's the people that you want to be there because it's more meaningful. The love is genuine, the love is real. But I think you handle it well, which is something I would do, is just let you have your moment, but at the same time, stay, in basking in that moment that is for me. Not letting them take over that moment.
yeah.
That's really good. I I agree with author Farron. It's funny because I'm like I was gonna piggyback off of her, but she literally said exactly what I wanted to say. It's something that I've learned in the last couple of years as God has been like positioning me to the forefront. If you know me, and my sister says it all, she's like, you always shy to the back. I'm like, because I don't really want the spotlight. It doesn't necessarily have to be about me, but in the season that I'm in, God is showing me that it's not necessarily about me per se. It's about Him getting the glory through me. And so I had
Amen.
to learn to realize that in those moments, if there is somebody who, is trying to take my day, like I will fall back and let them have their moment. But then God started showing me that He allows people to gravitate towards me anyway.
Right.
So they can't take, mine away because it's not about them. Have your moment, but God will start showing me, like, as He just brings people towards me, like, okay, like now let's get back in position and do what you're supposed to be to do anyway. So that's good.
That's good.
And I'll have to agree with the authors. Currently, and I'm going to say my secular job, my career or yeah, my career is actually in leadership. I'm a manager, so the current situation I'm in is not management. So
Mhm.
I had to humble myself in the process of the turn of events that happened. So long story short, I had I'm just gonna say administrative assistant. That's what I was assigned to do at this particular event. And turn around, like you said, I'm always used to being in the forefront. Even though I told you I'm shy, but God has put me in a position in a natural sense where I'm always in the front. Now on the spiritual side, I'm studying to be a minister. I'll be ordained next year, but I'm in a church. I do have like a little big mouth, but when it comes to the bishop, I'm like a little kid. I don't say anything. So it's just kind of funny how stuff happens. I'm trying to be more vocal in my spiritual walk, but as you stated, I'm trying to learn to speak when necessary. And this project that I had currently, I'm not jumping around trying to get everything out. The project that I had worked on, I was in the background, but the CEO had gave me a shout out in front of 100 people, and I was so overwhelmed. It was for a sponsorship. I raised my organization over $100,000. I like to talk sometimes, so I had to do all these calls. And when they showed all these people showed up for the event, I was so overwhelmed because I couldn't believe this was me. But this God said, "This is you. This is why I'm calling you." He's moving in a way that's like, oh my God, I'm just like, wow. And she gave me a shout out, And then when she finally said it, she said, Charlotte, I see you. Now, this woman has switched my position 4 times in the last year. So I can't say anything, but this is the last time I've been shifted to another position. And this time God said yes. I didn't have to fight for it. I didn't have to, because I told the Lord I wasn't going to ask her again. And turn around when I was quiet and did what I was supposed to do. He pushed me to the forefront, and this time she said yes.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, amen. Yes. Woo.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. You all have touched on something that God has been saying to me in the last couple of weeks, and I have been, just trying to stay in the back with it. But it is basically this. God has been saying, you are never hidden. You
Mm.
will only be seen when it's your time.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
so I always say each and every time I do one of these shows, God gives me confirmation that I am on the right path and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it blows my mind every single time. It's always something. And I guess I should be used to this by now, but I'm not. I haven't got used to this. But it's the confirmation that he said. And I was trying to, just take my bath and mind my business, have my long time, but God always with you anyway. And he was like, you were never hidden. You were in a space to where those who needed to see you have always seen you. It is now time for you to see what they have always known and what always seen. So your spotlight is waiting for you to step in.
Mm.
And so that is what's happening in many of our lives right now is that our spotlight is ready for us to take the stand, and you got to be ready to step in. God never, he doesn't call for you. He doesn't qualify the call. Qualifies the call. So if he's called you to do something, he knows that you're capable of doing it because he placed everything that you've needed inside of you. And it's time for us to actually walk in our purpose and walk with intention in everything that he puts forth in front of us, because he will provide you with a vision. And sometimes we get stuck on how are we going to make this vision a reality. We get stuck on the little things, and God said, I never asked you to provide anything. I just need you to be obedient to the instructions that I've given. So if I told you to go straight and then turn left at the stop sign, that's what I need you to do. He's the GPS of our lives. He knows exactly where he wants us to go. We just got to be obedient to doing that. We get so caught up in our own free will that we tend to do what we want to do, and that GPS will say rerouting. That's God saying, I didn't send you on that path. Get back over here. Stay on the path that I told you, because you're gonna be rerouted. You're gonna take a detour that I never intended for you to take, because the everything was mapped out the way I had it for you. Even if it looks like it's dark, if you keep walking through the darkness, you will soon find the light. But you got to go through some darkness to get to the light. But we don't always want to go through that. We want to sit there and be like, it's supposed to be perfect. I'm not supposed to see, because God ain't gonna show you everything. If he showed you everything, he will take you through. You will turn around and say, God, I don't want that. I don't want
Got
that
that
at
right.
all. You know, he gonna tell you, I know this what you asked me for. So your
Hmm.
drive, your determination, your gifts and your talents and your purpose is all tied up into those dark moments. I wrote a poem one time. I was in the hospital, y'all. I was in the hospital. I was in the hallway waiting in the wheelchair, getting ready to go and have an MRI done. And the title of that poem became, it was darkness. And what I was thinking about when I wrote that poem was, I'm going into this tunnel because I have Chiari malformation. And so I was going into the tunnel to find out what was going on, what was happening, if there was any changes, because I had a brain aneurysm also. And so they were checking to see if it had moved or anything like that. But I was thinking about going into that tunnel, and at the bottom, like I'm going in head first, all I can see is my feet. But at the end, there is light. But at the top, there's nothing but darkness at my head. So there's all that. But if I looked at my feet, there was the light, and my feet were going to touch the light before my head did. So I had to stay focused on that. And so I think that's a good metaphor for most of us. When you're in that darkness, if your feet keep moving, you will soon be out of that darkness. You just got to be able to keep going, because we get stuck. We don't see that God is taking us through this to get us to our breakthrough. Now, I'm gonna ask another question, because I keep going and talking about God and what He gonna do, and we'll be here all night. And I don't want to do that, and y'all just be letting me talk, and y'all can ask questions too. Like y'all got to come on here now. Uh, what fears, if there was any of you had during your writing process for this book? Was there anything that you had a fear of when you started to write for the book?
Look, I always go first. I'm like, I'm that girl. I'd be like,
All
I'll go,
right.
I'll go. I think for me, even though like we weren't necessarily caught off guard with it, it was like I wasn't necessarily in a space mentally writing. When I wrote my first book, I wasn't necessarily, aspiring to be an author. Like God told me to write the book to help me get out of the situation that I was in. And I don't think that he meant monetarily either. It was more so it was a key of obedience, to help me get to that next step. And so when the opportunity came to do Sacred Seeds of Wisdom, I had no intentions of writing again, and so now I have to dig back into that deep place and figure out, not only like what am I going to talk about, but going to be relatable. And so I wrote, if in my first book, I use a lot of references, Bible scripts. Like I'm a Bible girl, like I love the word. It's just something that has been a very necessary tool, like in my life over the last, probably 15 years. And so that's my default. And so I talked about, being alone, or letting, women know that you are not alone. And so I used women in the Bible who went through situations that we currently go through now, just to say, like, we're not even alone. We're not even the first people. Our moms and our grandmas are not even the first people to go through this. This goes all the way back to, Sarah and Abraham, just being
Yeah.
obedient, sacrificing the son, and Sarah having to intercede for her son, probably what she was doing while Abraham was walking him to, going to sacrifice him. And so I really just want to be intentional. And sometimes, like, I get in my head, like, I know I love the word, but then I've had conversations with people that are like, maybe just have a regular conversation. Don't always go to the Bible. And I'm like, and these have been, Christian people telling me that. And I'm like, well, I
Mhm.
try not to. So then I'm like, now I'm wrestling with myself, like, well, am I too churchy? Does it sound authentic? But then God was like, girl, like if you don't get my word out there, because that's what you're supposed to be doing, So you are inspiring women, you're encouraging yourself, you're being obedient, and you spreading my word.
Yeah.
And so that fear, like, of overcoming the fear of worrying about if to be relatable, if people are going to want to understand, and also just praying that maybe, the things that I write about, maybe it will encourage somebody to go look up the Bible, because it's relevant and it's where we are today. And you will find something to help you navigate where you are if you just pick up the word. So I had to really
Absolutely.
push myself through that.
I understand that completely.
Mhm.
I would like to piggyback off of what Miss Shayna just said.
Hmm.
As we grow older and we have more experiences, I don't know about you ladies, but I just can't imagine not going to the Word,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because I've made so many silly,
Yeah.
stupid, unconscionable mistakes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you said this, Miss Triveda. You said that thing about free will. That free will, those two words get people in so much trouble.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, and I hope I'm not offending anyone, because I love an educated person, but
Mhm.
I have a lot of educated people around me, and sometimes they are fools.
Yeah.
Amen to
I
that.
don't mean any harm by it, but instead
Right.
of them relying on God and the word that they've been taught, they rely more on their responses, like They need to just say what Confucius said and Aristotle. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that are well read. Being
Mhm.
well read doesn't mean that you beat people over the head with these practices that we
Yeah.
all know is junk. If you do not do what's right, right's not going to follow you. I'm from the South, I'm from Alabama, and a lot of my upbringing was the word. I
Mhm.
mean, at 3 years old, my mother's mother, my big mama, taught me the 23rd Psalm, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, no, there should not be any fear or shame. Now, do I fear sometimes when I'm striking out on something new? I'm 64 years old. You better believe it.
Yeah.
Because what is the devil going to do when Tony says, because I'm speaking only for me, when I'm trying to do something new, girl, you know your butt old, you old. And these young girls, they got it. They know what they're doing and you don't. But you know what I do? I surround myself around a lot of y'all young girls. And y'all share a lot and y'all are nice about it. Y'all share a lot of information with me. And that's exactly what a lot of y'all call me. Miss Tony, have you thought about this? Miss Tony, let's do this. Listen, in 2025, brown and black women, we running a lot of stuff. We're not just running our homes anymore. We're running these
Absolutely.
jobs. We're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
People are really jealous of us because they know we're done to hold us back. And you know who the they is. The they is a lot of folk that come in a lot of
Uh-huh.
colors. And
Absolutely.
they female and they male.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. I see a
Absolutely.
lot of affirmations from that, but we're not letting that stop us.
Can't stop,
'Cause
won't stop.
what keeps me going is I'm always motivated to not lay down and just die because somebody want me to. Because they mad,
Mhm.
because they've not developed in their own mind to just get up and do something. Do
Right.
something to help yourself. We can all wallow, but the self-pity thing, it's overrated.
Mhm.
While you taking time to do all that, you could have been sold 15 books if you get up and write.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything you want to do, you can actually do. A
That's
lot
right.
of times we stand in our own way because of what someone else is going to say. I had a conversation with my baby sister the other day, and she was asking me, why does she keep interacting or experiencing the same situations? And my response to her was, it's because you keep open invitation for the foolishness that you invite in. And I've always told her, you can either go to the circus to watch the show or you sign in to be a performer. So whichever one you decide, that's the role you take on. And so she's like, why do you always say that? I said, because if you going to watch the show, then you purchase a ticket. If you going to perform, you go put your clown uniform on and you go perform it. Nobody knows what you're going to do until you show up. So however you choose to show up at the circus, that's the role you take. I'm going to watch the show, which means I'm going to purchase a ticket. I'm not participating in anything that is foolishness. So therefore, you choose to interact with the drama that you invite in. If you don't want nobody coming into your house when they knock on your door, you either choose to answer or not. So if you keep answering, guess what? You keep receiving what you asked for. I said so. I told everybody 2 years ago. When everybody would ask me, well, why I don't see you nowhere? Because I'm nowhere that God hasn't called me to be. If it's not on God's schedule for me, baby, I'm not showing up because I'm not supposed to be there. So you're not seeing me where God didn't call me to be. So I'm always where God has assigned me. If He didn't assign me to be there, baby, you ain't gonna see me. Ain't no need for you to even be asking. Well, because God didn't say I needed to show up there. He didn't put it on my itinerary. He didn't put it on my schedule. He didn't put it on my to-do list. So I don't show up in places where I don't need to show up at. So yeah, this is what it is. I don't know. That's just me. But Miss Christina, what piece of this book would you like for any of the readers to take from what you wrote in the book?
I think we like I can't remember exactly who said. I think it was Tony, but we as women we take on a lot of responsibilities, and we are wearing a lot of hats, and we aren't just in the home or at the work.
Mm-hmm.
We're in multiple places, and not only are we at home and in the workplace, we have hobbies and different things that we do in the community that we have to show up for. And so people always expect for us to show up because we've always presented as the strong person, the person that can juggle and manage all of these things. And when we
Absolutely.
get sick, or when we aren't having the best day, or our attitude is a little bit off, or we're going through something that's traumatic, we're still showing up in all of those spaces. And what I wanted people to understand was we have to heal. And in order to heal, sometimes you have to take a break from all of those things. You can't be all things to all people if you are not
Absolutely.
taking care of yourself. And I've been in spaces and places with certain people of certain colors.
Mm,
And if they big toe hurt, they're going to the doctor and they're gonna take off. They're gonna get a medical leave form. They're
yeah.
gonna put HML. Is yeah,
Yeah.
it's HML. What is it? FMLA,
FMLA.
FMLA, and
Mhm.
they take their time. When it's time for their vacations, they gonna take their vacations, and you better not call them. When
Absolutely.
when they have something planned for the day or for the evening, they are out. But we be sitting around trying to do all of these things, and then when it's our turn, we be sitting, feeling guilty about the fact that we sick or we have something going on,
Absolutely.
or we need to take some time, or we need to take a mental health day. I want people to know it is okay to heal.
Mhm.
Have to heal ourselves. We have to fill our cups. We got to take a if we need to take a mental health break, if we need to go and do our own FMLA and take some time off at work so we can take care of ourselves so that we can come back and be 100%. Because yes, ma'am, we are going to show up, and yes, ma'am, we're going to give 100%, and yes, ma'am, we can juggle a lot of things, but we also need a break too sometimes. And so while we're taking those breaks, we need to be working on ourselves and filling our cups so we could come back and show up.
Yeah. Love that.
Amen.
100%. I always tell people you can't pour from an empty cup. Everything that you have in your cup is supposed to be the overflow that people get from you. And if they don't want to take the overflow, then they don't want to take nothing from you anyway, because what's in my cup is in my cup. If I give you more than what you're supposed to have, and I've learned to cut people off in a heartbeat now. Because as I've gotten older, I don't have time to be depleted. I got what I got because God gave it to me. And ever since my mom passed, I'm standing even more firm on that than I was before, because my mom taught me something: to live life on your own terms by your means. People always said that my mom was crazy, this, that, and the third, but I don't believe she was crazy. I believe that she was not properly diagnosed early on. But when you come from a family who breaks your spirit very early, it it's a downward spiral. And I believe that they're trying to do the same to me, but my mama, I got the strong will head, stubborn to no end. That's why my kids say I'm a hard headed parent, that they don't really know what they're gonna do with, because I don't listen to nothing. But I believe that God instilled that in me for many, many reasons. Number one, I had a stroke at the age of 30, diagnosed with a brain aneurysm at the time, lost the use of my left side. 2013, I lost my ability to speak. I lost my ability to walk. All these things. And I was hard headed. I drove myself to the hospital the first time. So, because I refused to get in the ambulance, by the time I got to the hospital, I could not feel my left side at all. I got fussed at, of course, by the, the nursing team and the doctor. And every time one of them came in, did I hear right? You did. I absolutely did. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, I did it. So I am very stubborn. I am very hard headed, but God put that in me for many reasons. And I'm slowly learning those reasons because number one, I am 4'8". People tend to look at me like a little kid half the time. I'm 46 years old. People don't believe I'm 46 because I'm short. And they still say I got a little baby face. I only have many wrinkles right now, but I got the gray hair. So it is what it is. But I've had to stand on me and stand in what it is that I'm trying to get people to understand. And being in a professional setting where you are the only one of color in those places, it's hard sometimes. And I've been told that when I speak is harsh. No, it's not harsh. It's direct and it's to the point. And most of them are used to being coddled. I'm not here to coddle your feelings. I'm here to get a job done. And if you can't take how I'm saying something to you because it's not, oh baby, I need you to do, I'm sorry. I'm not about to do that and I'm not about to change my tone to make you feel comfortable. Either you're going to get it or you don't, but I'm not making any apology for who I am. If you can take someone being direct with you, that's not a problem. Again, that's a personal problem. And having to say that to people who are higher up and of different race than myself, it tends to make them uncomfortable. And I've had to say, I'm sorry that you feel uncomfortable, but you saying this to me, how do you think that makes me feel? Because I can be uncomfortable too because you feel as if you outrank me, but in the lack of knowledge, you're still asking me to help you do something that you don't have the knowledge to do, but you want me to tone myself down because you can't handle direct communication. Again, that's a personal problem. And no, I won't change for that. So learning to stand firm on who you are in spaces where you're usually outnumbered is usually how it goes. But when you know who you are, you know the value that you provide, you will understand their absence. There's going to be a hard time. I've been I ain't gonna say I've been on vacation for these last couple of months, but y'all, I've been resting. I've been home, and my daughter has taken over my position at the urgent care facility where I work. And it's funny because I've been gone, but do you know what they say? They tell my daughter to call me when there's something that they don't know how to do. And it's funny. And so I went in to work, just picking up a couple of hours because I was bored. I ain't had nothing to do at the house and I was tired of sitting in the house. So I went in and I said, okay, well, have you guys, ordered these supplies? Well, no, we haven't ordered them since you left. Okay, but you guys realize I've been gone for a month, right? And you have only one of these things left. You guys are going to need these supplies. Like, what? Well, told listen, understand the power of your presence and know when you're absent, it is felt. And people don't understand the value that you provide for them until you're no longer in that space. And I said that a long time ago. And this was me just learning my own self and my own power. Um, so, what would you say? And this goes for everybody, what would you want people to learn that what seed would you want to leave with someone or even your younger self is something that you would have wanted to know then versus now? What would you want them to know?
It's okay to say no. I've learned that within as you stated, when my mother passed away, I was there for everybody.
Mhm.
Um, at one point, my mother was in the hospital. My brother was in the hospital, and my sister, and I was seeing them all of them on a regular basis. But it took me, to break my elbow before my mother transitioned to realize, hey, you're one person. You need to ask for help. So
Mhm.
now, as Miss Tony said, I just turned 60 in June, and I don't give a who ha ha who doesn't like me. I say no on a regular basis. I take a Charlotte day. If I'm not in the mood, I let people know in a nice fashion. I'm having a moment, and that's it. And I don't feel guilty about it. I say no and don't feel guilty about it. So that's
Yeah.
what my younger self, I will tell them, learn to say no, and stand firm when you know, and it's okay because you only got one life to live. Once you leave this world, then it's hopefully, I believe there is a heaven. That's what I know. I serve a mighty God, and I know I'm going to heaven. That's my plan, to go to heaven. But I always instill that in my daughters. Just be your own person. Also, learn to say no. And I'm trying to whisper. I noticed that with the daughter I'm staying with, she is more like me, and I told her I don't want her to be like me. Learn to say no.
Mhm.
Because she always wants to help people, and sometimes you can't do it because, like you said, we take on so many roles, and
Mhm.
it's like, you said you had a stroke. We take on so much that we are killing ourselves inside,
That was the
and it's
reason I
like,
had the stroke was stress.
yes, and it's, you got to come to a point. Just say no. Leave me alone, and it's no. And that's how I've been. I don't want to say moving at this point, but that's how I've been doing it for since 2017, and and I'm not going to apologize for it. So
You
that's just
don't.
really it. Yes, I don't.
I'd like to say encourage yourself
Yes.
before
Hmm.
you try to
Absolutely.
encourage someone else. Miss Triveda, you said something about you can't pour from an empty cup.
Hmm.
I don't know about you guys, but for a long, long time, I thought I was supposed to help everybody.
Right.
I think all of us have been in that space.
Yes.
Until I realized when I started to kind of get sick
Mhm.
and kind of falter a little bit, people kind of got used to me being in 15 places doing 15.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
And then
Yep.
they were looking forward, girl, where you at?
Hmm.
Call me on the phone, never said, hey, how you doing? Girl, where you at?
Hmm.
Yes.
Like, huh?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, encourage yourself first. Let me back up. Excuse me. Pray first.
Yeah.
Mm, that
Yeah.
part.
Encourage yourself
Yes.
and encourage others. Because once
Yeah.
you set the tone for the day of the prayer,
Come
you
Hmm.
on.
got your marching orders whether you want them or not. Big Mama
That's
Yeah.
used to
right.
say to me when I was a little girl, she only went to the night, but I knew exactly what she was saying. God doesn't leave you a fool.
Mm,
You have a conscious man that God talks to, and you have to get still and quiet enough to hear the small, still voice.
mm.
And I'm
Absolutely.
going to leave y'all with that
Yeah.
because that right there will stop a whole bunch of craziness if we take
You
time to
got that
listen.
right. You got that right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else to answer that?
I can answer.
Okay.
I would say to my younger self, or even something I had to learn, is that you are more than enough. I struggled a lot. I didn't really know it was called people pleasing or whatever, but just wanted to be like the best friend and the best girlfriend, and just always want to be so great at everything and for everybody. Like I didn't realize that I was burning myself out and wearing myself out, and then I
Hmm.
realized too that people typically choose themselves first. So I was choosing everybody else, and they were choosing themselves, and I was just kind of left standing there.
Yeah.
And so I had to really learn that it broke me for a little bit. It's like, well, why aren't I good enough? Or why didn't they do it for me? Or why, why don't they go as hard for me as I go for them? And I think I'm getting to a place where it's like, well, I don't even really care, and
That's
I
right.
had to really be intentional about not allowing that to change me, because I do know that that's one of my gifts and that's what God created me to be. He created me as a nurturer, but I had to learn the wisdom is you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you can still nurture, you can still love, you can still, be what you can be for other people, but you have to learn to be that for yourself first. And if they don't like it, then though they're probably in that category that's not going to be around anyway. So, you
Absolutely.
know, it's I don't want to I want to say self-preservation. Like my mom always says, she's like, it's about self-preservation. And I was the type that didn't really understand when they said, you're on an airplane, you put your mask on first. I'm like, that's so toxic. Like you got to help somebody else, and I'm like, I finally am starting to understand like what that means. It doesn't mean you let
Mm-hmm.
somebody else die, but if you die, then
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that was really big for me. You gotta, just you're more than enough. And if people don't like it, it's okay. They weren't supposed to be there. My mom said also a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So I'm at the age now where I start figuring out who's that reason, who's that season, who's that lifetime, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, and God say let go, because you end up hurting yourself in the long run, because you're still trying to hold on to somebody, and they taking you on a road you're not trying to go on, but you won't let them go because of the love or whatever it is that you feel for them. God has told me to let people go, and I'm like, okay, God, but I also was very mindful of the prayer that I prayed in 2019. God, remove those people who are not connected to the destiny in which you have for me, and help me to be okay with that. Now, did
Mm-hmm.
I know He was going to take some people away that meant the world to me? I did. But was I ready for it? Absolutely not. But I knew that I had to be okay with it, because it was not to his assignment that he has for me. And so as I get to certain seasons, I understand that some people have a pit stop, and that's as far as they're supposed to go with me. And I'm okay with letting them go and leaving them where they are, because if they're meant to follow me into the next space, they will catch up. I don't have to return to the back space to go and get them. They'll know me where I'm at. And so I've learned to make peace with that.
Amen. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, listen, I thank you guys for being here,
Thank
because
you.
it has been an amazing show. God always takes over, because without him, I don't know nothing about none of this stuff, because he gives me everything that I need. And all of the things that he has given me, he's given me my voice back when man said to just get used
Lord.
to not being able to walk, to get used to not being able to talk, to get used to those things. And my response then was, I don't have to get used to that, and I don't have to get used to you. And God has provided all things that I have, and I'm
Amen.
grateful for the stubbornness that He's put inside of me to know when to walk away from people who say stupid stuff to me. And that was
Yes,
something
God.
stupid that doctor said to me, and I'm like, sir, God didn't tell me that, so I don't got
Mm-hmm.
to get used to you. Let me go and get my stuff and get up out of here and go about my business. So if you see me walking, you would never know that I had to learn how to do this again. When you hear me speak, you would have never known that I had to learn this again. You would have never known any of this. And I'm gonna give y'all a little secret. Right now, I am in excruciating pain. My head is so bad because I have a Chiari headache. It's about to rain, and every time the pressure in the air changes, I feel that pain. So the back of my neck and back of my head is on fire, and I am in pain. But God allowed me the strength to be able to do this, and I definitely want to have you guys back. Let let the guests know how they can get in contact with you guys, and then I'm gonna close out with my usual thing. So, who wants to go first with how they can get in touch with you if they have any questions or any services that you guys want to provide to anyone else?
I'll go first. So you can follow my author page, author Farron McLemore on Facebook, or you can follow my journey at authorfarronmclemore.com.
Okay. Next.
You can find me, Tony Winston, as the Freedom Travel Diva. I'm Tony S. Winston on Facebook, but I also have a business page called the Freedom Travel Diva, and I have a website at www.freedomtraveldiva.com.
Okay, you could follow me on Facebook. It's Charlotte Simon. That's also my author's page. Then I have on Instagram is Char's Web of Artistry, and then my website is Simon Says Right Now. And I just want to say thank you again. This has been an exciting event. I wasn't going to come on also because I have a metal bolt in my arm, and so my arm is in pain. But I want to say this has been a blessing just to hear everybody's story, and I'm grateful just for this opportunity.
Amen.
Man.
So you can find me on Facebook as Shayna Jenkins. You can find me on Instagram, two pages, stilettodecor.com and the prettiest woman underscore 23. And you can follow my website at www.stilettodecor-tpw.com.
I'll go next. You can also find me at CC Fisher at um, Facebook, or you can email me at thrive at connect cultivate with com.
Again, you ladies, I thank you for being here. And as I close out, I am going to say what I always say, and that is stay out of God's business. The only thing He needs you to do is be obedient to what He's called you to do. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Good night.